My name is Vicki Migoya, and I'm the Public Affairs Officer for the FBI office in Denver. We are here today assisting the sheriff and our local partners. So we're going to have a brief news conference for you here. You're going to hear from Sheriff Alan Cooper. He is the Fremont County Sheriff. The incident that we're here about is in his jurisdiction. You're also going to hear from the Fremont County Coroner, Randy Keller, about what's being done on his end. We do have the Colorado Bureau of Investigation here as well, and the Federal Bureau of Investigation here as well, so if there's questions. We are going to let our speakers say everything they want to say first and only take questions at the end. And with that, I have nothing further. We'll introduce the sheriff.
When you guys talk, can you make sure you're right center of the microphone? Perfect, thank you.
Okay. Good morning. My name is Alan Cooper, A-L-L-E-N-C-O-O-P-E-R, and I am the Sheriff of Fremont County. During the last 48 hours, my office made a very disturbing discovery in the town of Penrose, Colorado. There have been a lot of questions and concerns expressed by the community, especially those families who entrusted their loved ones to this funeral home. Our priority and our focus is on the impacted families. My office and our team of investigators, including crime scene specialists, victim advocates, and many others working this case, are committed to finding answers for the families as quickly as possible. We're committed to supporting the families throughout this process with a comprehensive investigation along with our victims advocates. I'll give you a brief timeline of the events. On October the 4th, investigators from the Fremont County Sheriff's Office and the Colorado Department of Regulatory Agency discovered over 115 deceased bodies stored in the Return to Nature Funeral Home at 31 Werner Drive in Penrose, Colorado. Due to the magnitude of this situation, my office requested assistance from the Colorado Bureau of Investigation and the Federal Bureau of Investigation to utilize their resources. Fremont County deputies and the Fremont County coroner, state, and federal officers worked late into the evening last night to determine the scope of this scene. Without providing too much detail to avoid further victimizing these families, the area of the funeral home where the bodies were improperly stored was horrific. To give you an idea of the scope of this search, the area to be searched is over 2,500 square feet. While we want to process this scene as quickly as possible, the safety of the investigators entering the funeral home is of critical importance. Hazardous mitigation will be the first priority, and the FBI will survey and mitigate as needed before the ERT enters the scene with our teams on the ground. We're working to determine how long this process will take. After the scene is made safe and the appropriate personal protective equipment is issued, dignified treatment of the deceased is our next priority. Fremont County Coroner Randy Keller is working on securing trucks and making the process secured from the public view with tents or fencing designed for that purpose. Once the remains are removed, they will be transported for identification. Then notifications to immediate family members can begin. Coroner Keller will be overseeing this process and will have more details in just a moment. With regard to the investigation, there have been no arrests to date, and we don't want to speculate about arrests or possible charges at this time. We are focusing on our investigation and our victims. We are working closely with the 11th Judicial District Attorney's Office and the U.S. Attorney's Office on all aspects of this investigation, along with our state and federal partners. I'd like to close by letting the impacted families know that this case is my office's highest priority, and we will do all within our statutory authority and assessing every resource available for the resolution that you deserve. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Randy Keller. I am the Fremont County Coroner. My name is spelled R-A-N-D-Y, Keller. I want to assure everyone that this will be a very thorough and complete death investigation, with decedents and their families being treated with the utmost care and respect. Earlier this week, we were contacted by the Fremont County Sheriff's Office about a report of an odor coming from the Return to Nature funeral home in Penrose, Colorado. Working closely with the Department of Regulatory Agencies and the Fremont County Sheriff's Office, a warrant was received allowing us to enter the facility. After making entry into the facility, we found over 100 decedents who were improperly stored and has created a hazardous scene. We are in the very early stages of this investigation. At this time, I am in the process of gathering resources and assistance necessary to conduct our investigation and respectfully remove decedents from this facility. I have alerted the Colorado Coroners Association Coroner Assist Team, who stand ready to assist and provide additional resources. I have also made arrangements with the El Paso County Coroner's Office and the Douglas County Coroner's Office for their assistance. Fremont County has declared a local disaster emergency, which makes state resources available to us. Numerous other agencies, including but not limited to the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the Colorado Bureau of Investigation, and the Colorado Emergency Management, are either already on site or en route to assist with our investigation. We have established a family crisis center and a phone line for concerned family members to call and provide information about loved ones who may be involved in this tragic situation. I believe that information is available on our Fremont County Sheriff's Office site in regards to the phone number and an email address. In closing, I would like to state that this is going to be a very, very lengthy process. Forensic identification through fingerprints, medical or dental records, or possibly DNA will need to be completed. With the number of decedents we have in this facility and the identification process that needs to be completed, this could take several months. As we identify each decedent, families will be notified as soon as absolutely possible. I want to assure everyone that the loved ones in this facility will be treated with the utmost care and respect. Our hearts go out to everyone impacted by this tragedy, and we will take every measure possible to get families the answers they deserve. Thank you.
Late Thursday night, Colorado Governor Jared Polis issued a verbal disaster declaration for the Penrose incident, and today I received confirmation that disaster declaration is in place. As I talked about it earlier, we have a tremendous amount of support from our state and federal partners, and I'm extremely thankful for that, because that would be very taxing for an agency my size. So we have, that I know to date, the Colorado Bureau of Investigation, the Governor's Office of Emergency Management, Federal Bureau of Investigation, DORA. Am I missing anybody? I think that's it. And there may be more added to that later on. Vicki, anything else to add? Yes, absolutely. One of our federal partners.
Thank you. Good morning. My name is Mark McCulloch, M-A-R-K, M-I-C-H-A-L-E-K, and I'm the Special Agent in charge of the FBI's Denver field office. We at the FBI extend our deepest sympathy to the families of the decedents, the community, and those impacted by this horrible situation. We're here at the request of CBI and the Sheriff's Office, and will provide specialized forensic and investigative support for as long as it takes. On the forensic side, our local Denver-based evidence response team and our hazardous evidence response team has been working with the Sheriff's Office and the Coroner's Office throughout the night to conduct an initial survey to assess requirements and needs. Over the coming days, there'll be a series of folks that will be deployed here to provide additional support. Additional evidence response teams from other field offices across the nation will be here, along with specialized teams from our laboratory division in Quantico, Virginia. This will include our technical hazardous response team and our disaster recovery team. These are teams with additional training and specialized equipment that serve to process scenes of national magnitude, to include the response to 9/11 and major airline incidents. So they'll be coming in the future here in the next few days. Our initial work will be to do an assessment of the scene to determine any bio or chemical hazards and create a plan to be able to mitigate those to ensure that our investigators and crime scene personnel will be safe as they proceed. Following that, we will assist in processing the crime scene. That will involve a variety of specialized equipment and techniques that will include geospatial mapping, that will include documenting conditions and collecting evidence in a dignified way. From there, remains will be transported to a secondary location where the coroner's office can control the environment to limit further degradation and to be able to assist in the identification process. On the investigative side, the FBI will continue to provide support, and we've opened a parallel federal investigation to determine if there was a federal violation of law. We're fortunate here in this county to have a strong working relationship and partnership with federal, state, and local law enforcement, and I think we all have the same questions. Who specifically was impacted by this? How many were impacted? Who's responsible, and why did it happen? And we will all work together to ensure that we get those answers for the community and those affected. Thank you.
Okay, since this is a joint operation, we don't plan any more news conferences, but all news releases henceforth will come from the Colorado Bureau of Investigation, and they will be sending out news updates and releases as they become available.
Should we reach out to CBI for any further questions?
Correct.
So we will take a few questions here, but as our speakers have indicated, it is not clear if a crime has been committed. That is part of an ongoing investigation at both the state and federal level. So any questions related to that, these speakers won't be able to address. But if you have questions about the scene and the processing and the notification of families, these speakers will be happy to take those questions right now, briefly.
Sure. So there were paramedics on scene, as far as we understand, on Wednesday, it looked like, while the scene was being set up. Can you confirm if any personnel were injured in any way or exposed to any sort of health risks there?
Upon the initial entry to the facility and getting an idea of what we were dealing with, one of my deputy coroners did sustain a rash of some type from something that from the facility. At that time, I called medical and had her transported to the hospital. She is fine, but another reason why hazmat and everything has to be in there before we can move forward with this investigation. We don't want any of our personnel, any of the investigators with the Sheriff's Department or our federal or state agencies to be working in hazardous conditions, but that's where the medical came from on that day.
Yeah. And maybe, Sheriff, you could maybe, if you've been in contact with them, can you give any information about the several cars and officers that responded to the funeral home's office in Colorado Springs yesterday about 6 p.m.? They broke in and went through a window. Has the investigation expanded to looking for any evidence there as well?
That is in a different jurisdiction. It is related to this investigation, but I'll have to defer questions to Colorado Springs PD.
Sure.
Now to clarify, you said that you can't say whether a crime was committed. Just to clarify, that means we're not sure if it was responsibility of whoever owned the home or whether this was like a mass storage box, correct?
Correct.
And so one question I had was, I know that if it was funeral home being used for those purposes, a lot of families might have questions about financial compensation. Is that something that you guys are going to assist with? Anybody that might have been impacted financially with this?
That's not a law enforcement question. That would probably go through victims advocates, those folks.
Thank you.
Yes.
Have you been in contact with the owners of the funeral home?
The short answer is yes, and I can't go into much more than that at this point,
Are they being cooperative?
so far.
Are they in the state of Colorado?
So we've said we're not going to talk about that, so can we go on to a new question, please?
Maybe this is the coroner or anybody else who was on scene. You know, it was said that due to the gravity of the situation, you know, the multiple agencies were then called in to kind of assist with this. I know you briefly touched upon it, and I know it's sounds like it was a pretty tough scene to come upon, but can you kind of describe, you know, what that was like when you initially arrived there?
I actually would not like to go into those details. It is a very tragic situation, and as I've stated, there are a lot of decedents there, but I don't really want to go into the scene itself. So, out of respect for everyone, and including the families that are going to be involved in this. Thank you.
Do you have any idea how long bodies were left unattended there?
We don't have a time frame yet. We just had an initial response and to go in and evaluate the scene and what we're dealing with. But in regards to a time frame, ma'am, no. At this time, I don't know how long that this has been going on, but hopefully here in the not too distant future, we'll have a better idea.
Can you say whether it appeared that the decedents were being stored as being prepared for burial, or if it was a more chaotic scene than that?
Actually, at this time, we don't know anything about the decedents, whether it was burial, cremation. Again, it's just too early in our investigation to have an idea as to what was going on with these folks.
Now, knowing the nature of decomposition, is there any risk to anybody who lives nearby?
No, I don't believe there's any risk to anyone in the public at this time.
Do you have any idea how many people will be working the scene in the next couple of months? There's a number that you could throw out there.
Not at this time. We'll, of course, have numerous investigators investigating this with law enforcement. We may need assistance from the Coroner's Assist team through the Colorado Coroners Association. This is going to be a very lengthy process, so a lot of our investigators with the Coroner's Office are going to need to be spelled, and we are requesting assistance from other agencies. So right now, all of the partners that have showed up to help, everybody is being so cooperative, and we appreciate everything that is coming to this community for the help and everything, and to deal with this tragic situation. Thank you.
One more question? Anybody?
Could you just offer more details on how the bodies were stored? You don't have to describe it. in gruesome detail,
I don't want to get into the details on the storage of the bodies at this time. As I mentioned earlier, they've just been improperly stored. So we may have more details in the future, but at this time, that's all I have.
So that wraps up our news conference. Thank you for coming, for getting the word out to the community that what we're trying to do to help them. And as the sheriff referenced, any additional information from this point forward will be coming from the Colorado Bureau of Investigation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.